Avatar: The Last Airbender is returning for the third time. First was in episode 1, the second was a movie we're not talking about. And thanks to Netflix, we get to see Prince Zuko once more, who is one of the most complex characters in Avatar: The Last Airbender, if not all of animated history. But look closely and a few knots can be seen in the bark of his family tree, because there are a few hidden details that make him and his backstory even more tragic. So who exactly is this enigmatic Prince of Flame that captured the hearts of so many all those years ago? When we first meet Zuko, he was the primary antagonist of the show, with the single intent of capturing the Avatar and returning to the Fire Nation, thus proving himself in the eyes of the mysterious Fire Lord. Zuko is angry, he is determined, he is Rufio, and he has clearly been through a lot. Here's where his tough guy facade starts to crack. Zuko at heart is a soft, lovable rogue with a real connection to his mother Ursa, who went to great lengths to keep him from the suffering his father had planned for him. Her efforts to protect her son failed, but not in the way she assumed. Look back to Season 1, Episode 12, The Storm. This is the first look into Zuko's backstory, and it is far from a happy one. In the episode, Zuko is tasked with his seemingly fruitless mission to capture the Avatar. It even explains where he earned that frightful scar from none other than Hellish Father of the Year, Fire Lord Ozai. After seeing all of this, Zuko suddenly becomes a very sympathetic character. Plus, his story continues to evolve throughout the show. Another flashback in Season 2, Episode 7, Zuko Alone, explains how his father became the Fire Lord as well as how his mother mysteriously disappeared, an answer that wouldn't be revealed till much, much later. Zuko doesn't realize that his mother's disappearance was part of her plan to save him from his father. See, Ozai was prepared to sacrifice his son's life to pay for speaking out against Fire Lord Azulon. Business is everything to this guy. Luckily, Ursa swoops and offers herself in exchange for Zuko's safety. When Ursa disappears, Zuko is left to endure Ozai's cruelty, alone in a palace where empathy and compassion are foreign concepts. Ursa may have thought she was sparing Zuko, but tragically, his life takes a turn for the worse only a year or two later. Sure, Zuko's life was spared, but what is a life where your father neglects you? Ozai is solely responsible for traumatizing and permanently scarring his own son on a whim. Even before Ozai agreed to literally kill Zuko, it was clear that he didn't care about Zuko's well-being at all. After a young Zuko has a minor outburst in a war meeting, his father maims him in an Agni Kai before setting him off on a mission he knew was unachievable and humiliating. Ursa's attempt to rescue her son was completely disregarded by Ozai, to the point of inflicting severe physical and emotional damage. Fire Lord Ozai carried on a culture of fear and abuse handed down by Azulon and Sozin. A reign of terror, no relation to the French one, that would have likely ended if Iroh had taken the throne like he was meant to. After Iroh's son was killed, Ozai made a play for the throne and steals Iroh's birthright. You know, brother stuff. Ursa's folly was believing her son Zuko would be safer if he had the status of Fire Prince, but she was gravely mistaken. Ozai's contempt for Zuko continued to build until Zuko was completely exiled from his homeland, with no one to care for him except the same Uncle Iroh. A whole topsy-turvy hamlet, with a side of arson. This leaves Zuko in a purgatory that is parental approval, desperately trying to earn Ozai's approval, constantly at war between what is right and what is expected of him. It's only when Zuko accepts that his father was the source of all of his suffering does he finally find the strength to turn his back on the Fire Lord Ozai. In a beautiful twist of his destiny to find the Avatar, Zuko joins Team Avatar as Aang's firebending master. Despite his mother's efforts, Zuko's fate in Avatar: The Last Airbender had to include suffering at Ozai's hands, but it's only because of Ursa's sacrifice that he lived long enough to achieve that destiny. And it's only a matter of time before Netflix reignites this complex matrix of family drama and emotional depth that is the Fire Prince Zuko.